if you are someone where teaching English as a second language is something that you're interested in, then this is the video for you. You want to watch till the end and the entire series. Hey guys, so welcome to Fun with Mons. I'm Mons, all right? Welcome to my channel. It's fairly new. I do have another channel, but this one is a lifestyle channel. I'm going to do like any and everything. I'll also do like playlists, so that way it will be a bit more organized, so you could choose what you want to see, because it will be about lifestyle. So it will be travel, food, adventure, remote work. That's a big one. That's really the reason why I started this channel, because many people, and I mean many people, have been asking me about teaching English as a second language online. So I just wanted to give some information. So I'm creating a series which will provide you with all the details that you need, that you could literally just follow the steps and then you could get started. So don't forget, of course, to like, share, subscribe, follow, share with your friends, all of the above. Yeah. So firstly, maybe you're asking, what is ESL, right? ESL is just English as a second language. So what does an ESL teacher do, especially online, right? The real goal or purpose of an ESL instructor or an ESL teacher is to help individuals to be able to communicate in English effectively. Do you have to speak another language? No, because I only speak English. Now I'm trying to learn Spanish and a little Portuguese, but in general, you can only speak English and be an ESL instructor. Yes, of course, knowing another language is like better, but you don't have to know one to start out. Good. I personally would recommend learning one though, especially if you want to freelance as an ESL instructor in the future. All right. So this video is really going to focus on qualifications and what you need or what skills you need to have in order to become an ESL instructor, what certifications you need, the time frame, things like that, so you can make an informed decision on if it's something you want to do or not, because it's not for everyone, right? Depending on what you do, it can be, it depends, right? Because you'd have different age groups. So depending on who you teach, it could be so much fun, but then sometimes it could be so draining. So it really depends. For example, if you teach mostly adults, it's more conversational, it's fun, it's engaging. If you teach kids, it's also fun, it's engaging, but it takes more energy because you have to keep them focused. So you have to be like, hey, what's up? I'm teacher XYZ. You have to be like energetic all day. So it really depends on you, but it's really good. Like it's a great like job if you are an introvert like myself. I'm very introverted. You might, I don't know if you get that from the video, but I really am. But for me, I love teaching. I've been doing it since 2016 and I have no regrets. All right. The only regret I have is not knowing another language. But let's go into the qualifications and certifications. So, of course, one of the main things that you want to have is the certification. You want to be TESOL or TEFL or CELTA certified. And there are so many abbreviations, right? So I even have like a little notebook here because it's quite a lot that I'm going to touch on. But like you have TESOL, which is what I'm certified in, and that's teaching English to speakers of other languages, something like that. TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language. CELTA is a certificate in English to learners of other languages. I don't remember. I'll put them here, but it's something like that. But in all honesty, most of them are the same. They're pretty much the same. They all will help you get a TESOL job, a ESL job at the end of the day. They say CELTA is maybe like a little bit more in terms of like it's higher in qualification. However, if you do CELTA, it's really for adults, right? While TESOL, TEFL means you can teach any age group. But to be honest, some companies will still take that. I think the ESL companies are very like lenient with the rules. So do whichever one you feel most comfortable with. I usually recommend doing some more additional research. For me, I will always, always recommend what I would have known or what I would have experienced. So for me, I got TESOL certified using Uniprep. Good. Um, it was well, hold on. I think the course itself, I don't remember the time frame I had, but I finished it in like a few days, right? I was fortunate enough where at the time when I applied for the first ESL job, I was able to the company allowed me the time to actually like get certified. So they gave me 3 months to complete the certification, and I did it in like 3 days, right? So it really, that's with Uniprep specifically. But they have a lot more now because you could get like just a regular, I did a regular 120 hours certification. You have um, the diploma if you want to do the, TESOL diploma or TEFL. And as I said, Uniprep is not the only company. I will just talk about them because I use them and they are accredited. That's also another major thing because there are many companies out there that do have these courses really cheap, but they're not accredited, right? To be honest, courses can range, or the accredited ones I would say could range from maybe 200 US up, right? And it really depends because some companies also help you with like finding a job, they give support, things like that. So that's why I said it's good to like go into the details and do some research about the different ones because you have, as I said, Uniprep, there is TEFL, I think international, there is TEFL UK. I'll also link below because, as I said, I do have a blog also. So I link the some of the places where you could get certified. But as I said, my recommendation, Uniprep. So Uniprep is actually, the good thing is that they're usually having some kind of sale. So as you see, the rates here are really good. You're guaranteed to pass the exams. You can test them for free. It's accredited, as I said, internationally recognized. They have different courses that you could go through. You see TESOL and TEFL, but as I said, they're pretty much the same. But as I had mentioned a few times, that I can recommend them because even at the end, they send you the certification, the physical copy. So it's all good, all good. And just to point and to add in this, because there will be quite a few videos, if it is that you want help to go through the steps like the resume, the where to apply to, when to apply, the process, the lesson, the demo lesson, the introduction video, all of that, you can book a consultation with me and we could go through that in details, right? Now, guys, I can't guarantee you the job, right? That's not, that really depends on you and the interview and all of that. I can only help with the process. Note? All right, good. So, yes, so certification, important. The next thing that you want to, that would be good to have, you don't have to have this one, it's a degree, right? I think maybe that's why I landed the first job I had in ESL, but because I had my bachelor's degree, because I didn't have the certification at the time. Most companies now, though, require the certification before, but in the past, I think they were kind of fresh ish, right? So maybe that's why. But yeah, so for that, my degree is also in no way, shape, or form English related. It's a business degree. It's business administration, where I've majored in production and marketing. Right. So if you have a degree in science, or I don't know, anything unrelated, engineering, whatever it is, you can still become an ESL instructor. If it's something you want to do on the side, if you want to do it full time, the world is your oyster. You could do it, right? So yeah, so that's the qualification. But most companies will ask if you have some form of degree. The better paying companies ask that. But as I said, it's not a must. Some companies still do accept you without a degree. All right. Now this one, it's not necessarily a qualification. Um, and I don't want it to come off wrong, but I'll be honest. Like I've been doing this for years. And there are some companies that will not hire you because of the color of your skin, right? Unfortunately. But yes, there are companies where you will face that, or they won't hire you because of where you're from. Like for me personally, I'm from Jamaica. There are so many companies where Jamaica is not even like an option to pick the country when you're applying. Jamaica is not even there, right? So they don't hire from everywhere. Um, as I said, for different reasons. I'll share a different video with my personal experience with some of those things. Interviews I've done, didn't get the job because of this, right? But that's all good. So those are some of the things that are important. The next thing that you want to have is computer literacy. We're talking about teaching English online, guys, is online. What do you think? You need to have some technical skills, technical knowledge, right? You could be in a class or in a lesson and there are some issues with like microphone or issues with your internet or issues with your video, like many different things could happen. And most of these companies have their own like platforms that you teach on. Some will just let you use Skype or Teams, but most have their own platform. So you have to be able to adjust and learn these platforms because they literally most of them are different. Some might be like companies where you're playing games with the kids. So you have to be able to like click fast and type while you speak and listen to what they're saying and type the corrections, and it's a lot, right? You don't have to always type, but you want to be able to adapt and be flexible to those kind of changes. Because depending on the companies, students sometimes have their own requirements. Like you might have a lesson set like one way and they come in the lesson asking for something completely different. So you have to be prepared for that, right? Sometimes again, depending on the company you have, you could get some lessons about things that you have no knowledge about, and you have to like prepare yourself for that lesson. And to be honest, today I'm so happy, like being an ESL instructor, because I have learned so much about different jobs, different things, based because I've taught like a lot of like engineers. I have no knowledge of that, right? Pilots and aviation stuff, no experience. But I would have learned a lot from teaching them, and it's fun, right? So for me, I love learning, so it helps. The other thing is, of course, guys, this one goes without saying, right? But if you want to be an ESL, an English as a second language instructor, then what do you think your English skill needs to be like? Of course, you have to be able to speak English well, you have to articulate well, you have to, you know, like be clear, be audible, easily understood, communicate effectively, all of that stuff, right? So strong English skills is good. And usually most companies require grammar tests. So no getting around that. And if you do the grammar test and you pass, because to be honest, you could still like Google the answers. But if you do it and you passed, you are kind of doing a disservice to yourself, because when you actually get the job, they do, some companies monitor the classes. You want to make sure that you're teaching them the right thing, right? So there's that. The next thing that you need to know, they won't say this in the interview, even though I've had it before, but you want to be culturally aware, right? Especially if you're working for like a company that has people from all over the world, you have to be aware, right? Know what's okay to talk about, what's not okay to talk about. There are boundaries because not everyone wants to talk about some things, right? For me, though, I think this is why some students like the lessons, because I talk about anything if they want to. But I would never bring up a topic that's like taboo or that they don't like. They would have to be the ones to bring it up, and I will go ahead with it. But I won't say it to them. So that's the key thing, being culturally aware, but also like boundaries, like knowing what's a good thing to talk about, what's a bad thing. For example, you don't talk about things like politics with students. You don't talk about, intimate relationships, things like that, right? Some students, though, will want to talk about those things. So if you are open to it, then you can. But if you don't want to, you don't have to, right? But for me, anything. And I mean anything. Some lessons I've had, some things I've spoken about. It's just different. But again, I love it, right? I said this earlier, knowing a foreign language is good, but you don't have to. It's good if you know another language, but it's not a must. These are more skills you need to know now. You need to have like good time management. Time management is very important because the lessons are timed, right? And it depends. Again, companies are different. Some companies provide you with the lesson plan, some you have to create, but they're still timed. So a lesson might be 25 minutes, it might be 30 minutes, it might be 50 minutes, it might be 45 minutes. So you have to be able to fit whatever the topic is in that time frame. Then it also depends. Sometimes you're teaching one person, sometimes you're teaching a group. You have to be able to manage the time so that everyone gets to speak in the lesson. And that can be tricky because you could have a group lesson and one person want to take up the whole time, right? So you have to have time management, but also know how to manage that when that happens, which again, I got you guys on that. All right, so patience is another one. Patience and adaptability. As I kind of said before, you have to kind of just adjust the changes that will happen because I promise you, changes will happen in the lessons, right? So just being able to adjust is important. All right. So I think those are the main things that you want to consider if you are thinking of becoming an ESL instructor. As I said, it's not really a hard process, it's not a long process. The certification could be done in days or a few months, and then you could start applying and get started. All right. So if you did find this video useful, please subscribe, share, like, of course, with friends and family who you know are interested in teaching English as a second language. All right, guys. And don't forget, if you want more detailed help with it, feel free to reach out. I will put that in the description below and look out for the other series coming up. All right. Bye bye.